Hello everyone. In this video, I want to show you how to properly unit test your Angular component that uses Angular material. So what I have here is an example of a small app, and this app has one component that consists of drop downs to select your favorite food and a section to show you what you've selected. And we have the first one is a native HTML select, and the second one is a material select. And throughout this video, I will use the word select and the word drop down interchangeably because the name of the HTML element of the drop down is called select. And for the material drop down, I will also use the name matSelect because that's its name, or that's the name of the element in the HTML. So the goal is to unit test this component and make sure that its functionality works as expected. So we want to expect that we will have whatever we select as our favorite food in this section. Okay, so I have an empty file for our unit test, and we will start preparing the ground for the test. But before we dive in, I want to remind you that we are using testing library Jasmine and Karma. And if you don't know those, you should probably have a look at them before you continue watching this video. So let's start writing the describe the example component. Should display the selected food emoji. And we want to render the component using the render from testing library. And this render needs the example component. So I am importing it from the example component file, and we will have a look at that component in details when it requires. What I need is to import the matSelect module because we use that in our component, and I think that's literally what we need. And let's not forget that the render is returns a promise, and we have to wait for it, and we need to turn this callback to an async function. Okay, so the reason I have a native HTML element in the component is just to compare later the difference of how you unit test the native element and how you unit test a material select component. So we will start with the simple thing. We will start with the native HTML select. Okay, so let's try to run the test already. So we will use the ng-test command with some options, and let's make sure that we add the focus flag on our describe to run only this test here, and let's run the command. And here we go. We have total 1 success, which means in the test, the component was rendered successfully. And regarding these errors, we will get into it later, and I will explain what is going on here. And let's also use the screen from the testing library DOM to debug or to log out the rendered result in the terminal. So by hitting save, the test will rerun, and then you will see the render result of our component in the terminal. So I'm actually interested in the selected food section here, and I can use the screen debug to only display this one for me, just for debugging. But to do that, I need to query the selected food paragraph, and I will use the data test ID for that. So first of all, let's call this element that we want to query selected food. And then we use screen again. And the screen has the get by test ID method. And this is gonna query the selected food by the test ID attribute that we defined. And when we got this element, we can inject it to the debug method here. And now you will see only that part. Nice. And I will keep this one always here just for a visual check for what we can select, and if our selection actually was fulfilled.